Hey, SBCC family, Jason here. I'm here at the Tribune building to give you an update on the Tribune project. We figured all of you, both local and long distance, would want to see where things stand and where we go from here. This is all thanks to you. We bought the building this summer, and since then a few things have been happening. One, as we've been able to go public with the project, we've heard about a ton of enthusiasm, not just from SBCC people, but also from people who are stakeholders in the life of downtown South Bend, whether it's people in city government or downtown business owners or people who live and work downtown. It's been really fun to find out that it sounds like we're going to be welcome neighbors here on the block. Another thing that's happened is we as a community have already given over $900,000 to the project, which is amazing. And as a reminder, we're combining money that we give now and over the next year and a half with a mortgage to make all this happen. We've begun cleaning up the building and liquidating some of the equipment and other things that were in it. When we bought it, it came with some stuff that we don't need, but is in fact valuable for other people. So we've been able to liquidate some of that equipment and use those resources to also fund the project. We've been exploring partnership conversations because, as you know, we want this building to be a place for the people all week long, not just for the people of South Bend City Church, but for everybody who calls South Bend home. And those conversations and discernments continue to point in the direction of some form of resourcing for early childhood programming here in South Bend. By the way, that does affect our designs, of course. So like one example is we're learning that any kind of plan for early childhood work during the week here means we need to have good, safe outdoor space for kids. And those are being incorporated into revisions on our designs. And speaking of revisions on our designs, that's the other big thing that's happening. We're getting more and more granular about how this building is going to get retrofitted and what it's going to cost. Now, of course, we did a bunch of that work earlier. We've done it with every round of discernment on this project. But if you've ever been a part of a building project, you know that every round of work brings new clarity on cost. Costs have gone up, actually a lot on the project. Part of that is you're probably aware that inflation is skyrocketing right now, and it affects everything, including the supplies that we would use to renovate this building. You may not know that there's been changes in the energy code, though, that kicked in and affect the project just between the early discernment work and where we are today. It's also the case that some of our phase 2 costs have been moved to phase 1 in our planning. I wanted to explain that to you briefly. So I'm up here on the second floor, and in phase 2, this big room becomes our main gathering area. And then right below us on the ground floor on the same part of the building is our kids ministry area. Well, kids ministry is going to happen in phase 1, and that means that big hole in the floor that you can probably see right now, that's got to get filled in during phase 1 so that the kids' rooms can be what they need to be. Now, originally in the phased planning, we had relegated a lot of demolition work up here on the higher part of the building to phase 2 because we're not going to be using this part of the building in phase 1. However, what we've learned from our contractors and architects is that if we wait to do a lot of this phase 2 demo work during phase 2 on the upper parts of the building, it's going to cost a lot more. This big hole in the floor ends up being very useful for demo because a lot of the stuff that has to be demolished can get dropped down through that floor and carried out very easily. If we wait until we fill that hole in and develop the ground floor of the building, all of that phase 2 demolition gets much more time intensive and expensive. So in the long-term life of the project, we save a lot of money by moving some of the phase 2 demo into phase 1. However, it means that phase 1 costs more upfront. Altogether, between inflation and supply costs and HVAC issues and relocating some of that demo work, we're looking at roughly an extra $1.5 million beyond what we'd budgeted through our current giving commitments and the mortgage. Now, that's a lot of money, yeah, and you might be wondering what we're going to do about it. And the answer is we're working on it. We're still committed to this project. Our future is here at the Tribune, but some of our timelines and other variables are in flux. We're really committed to transparency on this project, which means sharing this with you now rather than waiting for everything to be resolved. So we want you to know about it. There's a few ways that you can jump in and help right now. One is to be praying for this project. We've been doing that from the beginning. We want to keep doing that as a way of putting our heart and our faith in the work. You can tell the story. You may not feel this way, but you're an ambassador for this project, and your own enthusiasm for it is another way that other people find out about it, and maybe they'll just be excited to know what we're doing, or maybe they'll want to support it. We're going to have a chance to put some sweat equity into the building with work days coming up. There's parts of this that any of us can do. You don't have to be a skilled tradesman for some of the work that we're going to be doing in the building. Keep an eye out for those work days. And then lastly, new financial commitments can help us get across the finish line. If you want to revise an existing commitment, you can go to thetribuneproject.com. Maybe you've thought about your own situation, or maybe hearing about this new need changes how you're discerning your own commitment. Also, we know there's a lot of you who are new to SBCC and you weren't around back in the spring when we launched the project and made our pledges. And so we want to make sure you know it's not too late to make a commitment and be a part of the project. Either way, just go to thetribuneproject.com where you'll see a bunch of detail about the project and you can either update or make a new commitment. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, resources, or ideas that you want to offer, you can reach out to us by email at info@southbendcitychurch.com. Grace and peace.